the dead of night, the emergency room at a hospital in Austria was a hive of activity. A young woman had just been brought in by an old man. He told the doctors that his relative had become very sick, and that's why they were here. But when the doctors saw how bad her condition really was, they immediately realized that something wasn't right. It seemed as if she hadn't seen a ray of sunshine in years. But who was this strange girl, and what horrible secret had she been hiding? The girl who came into the hospital was 19 years old. She weighed only 37 kilograms, which was extremely thin for someone her height. Her skin was unnaturally white, almost translucent, with visible blue veins crisscrossing her body. It was obvious to the doctors that she had never seen the sun in her entire life. But that wasn't the most shocking thing about her. When they took her blood for tests, they discovered something that made their jaws drop. She didn't have a single trace of vitamin D in her system. This meant that she had lived in total darkness for all of her 19 years, cut off from the world. But how could something like this happen? As the doctors tried to piece together the mystery, the old man sat calmly in a chair nearby, watching them work. He told them that he was the girl's grandfather and that he'd found her wandering around the street delirious and brought her to the hospital himself. But when the police ran a background check on him, they discovered that he wasn't related to the girl at all. They soon realized that they were dealing with a major case of identity theft. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. Because when the doctors went to question the girl, they discovered that she couldn't speak a single word. She stared at them blankly, seemingly without a single emotion. She was clearly, severely mentally disabled. But how did she become this way? As the police searched for answers, a sudden commotion broke out outside the hospital. A woman was running towards the building as fast as she could. She burst through the doors, out of breath and panicked. She rushed up to the staff and screamed, "Please, protect me. Don't let him get to me." Then she turned to the old man and said, "Joseph, please don't hurt me. You can't do this." Joseph looked at the woman with a cold, emotionless stare. It was clear that they knew each other. The woman looked around frantically and then turned back to Joseph. She pleaded with him, saying, "You promised me you wouldn't do this. Please, Joseph, don't do this. Please, don't take the children away from me." It was at this moment that the doctors and police finally understood the gravity of the situation. They had stumbled upon a twisted web of deceit, abuse, and unimaginable horrors. It was the mother. She had finally arrived. But why was she so scared? Why was she afraid of the old man named Joseph? And what did she mean by protecting the children? Just then, one of the nurses noticed that the girl was staring intently at her mother. It was the first time she had shown any kind of emotion since arriving at the hospital. Could she recognize her mother, despite living in total darkness? As the nurse watched closely, the girl slowly stood up and started walking towards her mother. But it was a very strange walk. She took small shuffling steps, and her arms were stretched out in front of her, as if she was trying to feel her way. Seeing this, the mother screamed, "Don't come any closer, you'll hurt me. Please stay away from me." But the girl kept moving forward, her eyes fixed on her mother. With a mix of confusion and fear, the mother turned and ran out of the hospital. She kept looking over her shoulder, terrified that the girl might chase after her. The doctors and police were baffled by this strange turn of events. Who was this mysterious girl, and what was her connection to her mother? What horrifying secrets were they hiding? Back in the hospital room, the police began questioning the old man, Joseph. They wanted to know who he was, how he knew the girl, and why he brought her to the hospital. He sat calmly answering their questions, but there was something about his demeanor that set off alarm bells in the investigators' minds. His answers were rehearsed, as if he had prepared himself for such an interrogation beforehand. He claimed that he had found the girl wandering alone, unable to care for herself. Concerned for her well-being, he decided to take her to the hospital, but refused to elaborate further. As the hours passed, the full extent of the girl's condition became apparent. Her lack of vitamin D levels indicated that she had spent her entire life in isolation, possibly without seeing a single ray of sunlight. But why? And who was responsible for keeping her hidden away? All these questions tormented the investigators as they delved deeper into the case. When the doctors examined the girl, they found more disturbing signs. She had no idea what food was or how to eat. It was as if she had never experienced the sensation of hunger before. Her nails were long and dirty, and she had several bruises and scratches on her body, suggesting a history of neglect and possible abuse. It was clear that whoever had raised her had done so in the most inhumane way possible. And then there was the mother. The police desperately needed to talk to her, but she had vanished. They checked her home and found nothing but an empty crib and a few disturbing items. On the walls were pictures of the girl as a baby, but there wasn't a single image of her as a child. It was as if she had simply disappeared from existence after a certain age. The police were baffled. Why would a mother abandon her own child and hide her away for years? As the investigation continued, a crucial piece of evidence surfaced. The police found a diary that belonged to the mother. In it, they discovered a horrifying truth. The mother had been keeping her daughter locked in a basement for the past 24 years. She claimed that she was protecting her from the world, but the reality was far more sinister. The mother had been convinced that the outside world was dangerous and that her daughter needed to be kept safe. She had constructed an elaborate fantasy world inside the basement, complete with furniture and toys. But it was a prison for the young girl, a prison that had robbed her of her innocence, her health, and her very humanity. As the investigators pieced together the timeline, they realized that the girl had been taken from her father when she was only 1 month old. The mother had convinced the father that she was taking care of their child, but instead, she had kept the baby locked in the basement. The father, desperate to find his missing daughter, had reported her disappearance to the police, but the mother had cleverly manipulated the situation, turning the father into the prime suspect in the missing persons case. The police were shocked by the extent of the mother's deception. She had managed to evade their suspicions for so long by feeding them false information and playing the role of the concerned mother. But now, the truth was out. The police confronted the mother with their findings. She broke down and confessed to everything. She revealed the horrifying details of how she had kept her daughter locked in the basement, starved her and denied her basic human interaction. The motive behind her actions: a twisted sense of love and obsession. As the confession unfolded, the investigators felt a surge of anger and disgust for the mother. Her actions were nothing short of monstrous. To think that she had subjected her own flesh and blood to such a horrific life was beyond comprehension. The authorities moved quickly to arrest the mother and bring her to justice. The news of the case sent shockwaves through the community. People were horrified by the level of depravity that existed within their midst. As for the young girl, she was taken to a hospital where doctors worked tirelessly to help her recover. Her journey was slow and arduous, but with specialized care and therapy, she began to make progress. Years passed, and the girl, no longer a victim, blossomed into a resilient young woman. With the support of medical professionals and social services, she learned to navigate the world and lead a fulfilling life. The story serves as a chilling reminder of the lengths to which a deranged mind can go. It also highlights the importance of community vigilance and the need to address mental health issues to prevent such horrors from happening.